What have you missed the most in the past year? Traveling, dining in restaurants, attending a concert or sporting event? When people were asked that question, being with others topped the list. Being with others. They miss gathering with family, friends, and parishioners. They miss community. And yet, it is community that has gotten all of us through this past year. It's looked different, even felt different, but there's no denying that it's been community. Community in hearing a loved one's voice on the phone or through Zoom when you couldn't be with them physically. Community in seeing and waving to a grandparent from a safe distance. Community in drive-by graduations, birthdays, and baby showers. All because we have this innate desire for connection. There's even a phrase that's been coined to describe this: together, apart. Together, apart is a perfect description for the many ways we've experienced connection in the last year. When Jesus gathered with his apostles for the Last Supper, he knew that his everyday life with them was about to be cut short. He also knew that without his daily presence, they would face really tough times. And he wanted to give them something that would get them through all the challenges they'd face. A way for Jesus and his disciples to be together apart. He gave them the Eucharist, his very body and blood, a brilliant, beautiful, sacramental gift. And it was Jesus' way of saying to them, no matter what may come, I will always be with you. I will nourish and sustain you. And with the gift of his body and blood, he also gave us the structure of the Mass. In doing so, Jesus taught the importance of remaining together and worshiping together. He even gave his followers this promise: where 2 or 3 are gathered, there am I in the midst of them. As a parish, St. Pius has been so blessed in the past year. We've experienced community in so many ways, in new ways, through our online worship, our drive-up communion, our small groups and ministries that have met over Zoom. It's helped us remain together as a parish. As I said, it's been different, but the essentials have remained. We've experienced true communion with God and with each other. Not everyone has felt comfortable being back in our church building. Many of our parishioners have felt safer worshiping online. Early on in the pandemic, we decided to offer drive-up communion for our online worshipers. On a typical Sunday morning, 80 to 100 people receive communion while remaining in their cars. And the way it's organized feels very similar to a communion procession in church pre-COVID. At the prescribed hour, cars line up. They're greeted by members of our host team. They approach the Eucharistic minister and receive communion. I greet them and wish them a great day. Another host team member waves goodbye as they drive off. For the regulars, we've become our own community, greeting, asking about each other, smiling, connecting. We've been united through prayer and communion made possible by Christ. God willing, the day will come when we can all be together again physically without fear or worries of COVID. But one thing the pandemic has taught me as your pastor is that as a church, going forward, we must be better. Better at figuring out how to connect and stay connected, how to create community with each other, communion with God, and how to feed all those who are hungry or hurting, physically, emotionally, or spiritually. Because the other gift that Jesus gave us at the Last Supper was a command to serve one another. He gave them the Eucharist, his body and blood, then immediately washed their feet. He was teaching them the intimate, unbreakable connection between the two elements of worship and service. It's a connection we must make sure we never lose, lest our worship become inward rather than outwardly focused. Now, in past years, we would imitate Jesus' act of service and wash the feet of parishioners. As I said at the introduction, we won't be doing that this year. But if you picked up your Holy Week kit, we included some instructions for how to do this at home. And if you didn't get a kit, all the instructions are on the Easter page of our website. All you need is a bowl of water and a towel. It's one way to connect with Christ today, and a powerful reminder of his command for his followers to build community by serving others. So this Holy Thursday, Jesus gives us two powerful messages. First, with the gift of the Mass, he reminds us that he is always with us in the Eucharist and in the community of the Church. And Jesus commands us to be his body and blood for others through service. At the Last Supper, Jesus reminded the apostles that they had been called, strengthened, and sent to build the kingdom. God has called you, strengthens you, and is sending you to do as they did. What might this mean for you personally going forward? To help you figure that out, here's a question for you to consider. What is Christ calling you to? Is it to work harder for community within your family, your neighborhood, your school or workplace, your parish, your nation? How can you be Christ's body and blood out there? How can you be a greater force for unity and communion? One suggestion of a way to begin is to simply check in on people you know who still are largely stuck at home. Just give them a call, send a text or email, simply reach out. Ask if there's anything they need. Also ask if there's anything you can pray for. Start there, and I guarantee God will lead you to other ways to serve. This Holy Thursday, be open to opportunities to be Christ's body. The needs right now are great, of that there is no doubt. When we live out our calling and go where God sends us, the Lord fills us. We experience communion with Christ, and we create communion with each other. Amen.